Hey guys, before we start this episode, we're starting off the new year right. We've got some merch. There's links down below. You guys can check it out. Or if you don't want to, don't check it out.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
All right, let's get back to that episode.
See ya.
Hey guys, welcome to Tone Bros. My name's Casey.
And I'm Colin. We're going to get started with the current topic of the day, which has to do with PRS. They released this new guitar, and it is the Swamp Ash Special. Swamp Ash Special.
Careful.
I was about to say that's one of those ones you want to be specific about.
Yeah.
But it's a C. No, it is not a CE. It's a bolt-on. But it's around $2,900. It's got single coil switches, the two switches, right? It's got the pattern regular neck,
Okay.
not the pattern thin like the CE.
Yeah.
It's got the 5815 pickups.
It's got one of the narrow field pickups in the middle.
It's got the narrow field, and you can get it in rosewood on the neck, fretboard, or maple. I mean, I'll be real honest. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this or the DGT.
Man, it's such a big difference for you though, right?
And the DGT is very different too.
Yeah.
Like it's not really that comparable.
But for what you're looking to get.
For a do-it-all guitar, I mean the DGT. PRS makes the best tools. I will say that. If you're going like for a very utilitarian guitar, PRS is your place to go.
Not to say they're not special.
Yeah.
They are special too.
Yeah, and this one's very Swamp Ash Special.
Gosh dang. I gave him that one. That was a softball. Dang it. Okay, yeah, I saw these came out and I thought, oh, I'd like to play one of those, but it's not really something that itches like whenever I first look at it for me, but maybe if I play it, I'm going to feel completely different.
Yeah.
PRS, I mean, we've talked about many times on this show before that I like PRS stuff, but I've never found that one that I'm just like, holy smokes, I got to take this home.
Yeah.
But as in a tool, I mean, good luck finding tools much better than that one.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this guitar, between this or the DGT, I think it could be in my arsenal for sure. And it's the pattern regular neck. It's like the CE, that was one of my biggest hangups. It had the thinner neck.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't. So
it being Swamp Ash is kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
I like that idea for the body. They look amazing.
They look great.
Great looking guitars. Yeah, I think you need to get out and go play one. Yeah. I'll go play one too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go play one, but I just don't have the itch the same way you do. But this is almost exactly what you've been looking for.
I know.
So, yeah. Do you want to go ahead and move into your main topic from here?
All right. Main topic. We're going to start with a controversial one, Casey.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So guitar weight. What gives?
Yeah. Does guitar weight matter?
Does guitar weight matter? Is it everything that you need to know about a guitar? Because maybe COVID. I think COVID is when it started being like a really hot topic because everyone was like, well, I'm going to order it on Sweetwater. I want a light one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Les Pauls that are typically heavy. I say heavy, around 9-10 pounds, right? Everyone wants the light one. Everyone wants a light telly, a light Strat. That means it's good tone, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I think it's very dependent from guitar to guitar. I've played light guitars that are great. I've played light guitars that suck. I've played heavy guitars that are great, and I've played heavy guitars that suck.
Yep.
Would I say I like light guitars generally more? I don't know. I don't really find that. I kind of think they're all over the place for me.
I think it's guitar dependent. Like my Strat, it's not a super light Strat.
No.
I mean, it's in the 7-pound range. I mean, it's average. But like, I kind of like the fullness that the guitar has, and I'm not saying that's attributed to its weight.
Right.
But I do, you know, you think about Strats, they are typically lighter guitars anyway, so if it's a bit more heavy, I don't really care. Now, if a Les Paul is 12 pounds, I'm gonna be like, I really don't want to pick it up.
Yeah, that doesn't have to do with me thinking that it's gonna sound bad being 12 pounds.
No.
That has to do with me thinking, I don't want to have this on my shoulder all night long for 4 hours
Right.
or for 2 hours or however long you're playing.
Right.
Or if you're just jamming at the house for 6 hours, like, I don't want to be dragging that thing around.
Yeah. And also, you look at these used market prices for 70s guitars, that's heavy wood.
A lot of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those prices are skyrocketing. And
I don't understand it. I don't understand it, guys. Those Norland era Gibsons, I mean, there's some that are good out there, but overall the prices have gotten so high. Like, I would much rather have a custom shop current production model
Right.
than most of those Norlands. Not all, than most of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I
It's
don't
a
want to
whole
get into
nother
that.
topic.
Don't want to get
We
into
want
that.
to stay on weight, okay?
I think a lot of my guitars comes in kind of standard weightish. I mean, we were just
See if you bang up that guitar. That'd be good.
yeah, it's good for it. We were just talking about this before we got started. We were kind of plunking on this guitar because I had changed the setup and strings on it and stuff a little bit. But this Les Paul's kind of average weight. It's like the high end of 8 pounds, I think is where it's at.
Yeah.
My telly that's back here is like mid 7s, something
Yeah.
like that. It's kind of like, it's not featherweight super light, but it's not super heavy either. I don't know. I guess if I pick up a guitar and I'm like, oh, this thing's like a boat anchor, this thing's super heavy, it might turn me off a little bit to it, just because I don't want to be holding on to it all the time. But I'm never like, okay, this one's lighter than this one, so I'm going to try this one. Like, I never think that.
Yeah. Can I tell you something that's weird?
Yeah.
So when I pick up a light guitar, because it's so, like, you can move it around like crazy and you don't think about it, I tend to overplay. So when I'm taking a solo, right, or just playing in general, if it's a heavier guitar, I've noticed myself with my Strat, I will, because it is a little bit heavier for a Strat, I hold more value to each note.
That's because the heavier guitars sustain more.
I don't know.
He's doing it again.
I don't believe in all the mumbo jumbo behind weight, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I do think when you get into practicality, do you want a lighter guitar on stage? Typically. But also, if you're a bedroom guitar player,
Probably doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Or it doesn't matter as much unless you're standing playing in the bedroom.
Or if you got back issues, we get all that stuff too.
I mean, I know there's people out there that are really specific on weights. I know there was, I was listening to Zach Childs from Ask Zach. It's on YouTube. He was talking about picking out a Telecaster's body's weight. And he was asking for like a 3-pound, 11-ounce Telecaster body. And he was trying to find that exact weight for the specific body he was doing. And he's like considering like how much the hardware is going to weigh and how much the neck should weigh and all this stuff. I totally understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that's very specific on, he wants a light guitar because I think he finds that generally they do sound better to him. It makes me wonder if it's just coincidence. Like, how many of these people that find that these light guitars really do sound better, maybe in their ears they really do sound better objectively, but come to find out, it just happens to be that the light guitars they've ran into were the ones that did happen to sound better. And if they would have been in a different shop another day, it would have been heavy guitars that happened to sound better.
I think, honestly, you think about light and heavy guitars, what's the first guitar you grab? Like, if you're, relaxing, it's going to be a light guitar. You don't want a heavy one if you're, like, just kind of messing around, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of what people are going for. I mean, I get the whole thing. Like, you do want a light guitar, but it's not everything.
So if I was going to go buy a guitar off Sweetwater today, and they had 3 of them in stock, they had one that's heavy, they had one that's a pound less, kind of middleweight, and they had one that was a featherweight, super lightweight. I'm gonna order the lightweight one.
I think if you have the option, yeah, you probably want to go the lightweight one. But also,
Not because I think it's going to sound better, because it might not. But probably just because of like, well, if I'm on stage.
I think I would ask the person which one plays the best and is the lightest with both those things in play. Which plays the best and is lighter?
If I was talking to somebody, I'm just saying if I couldn't talk to anybody, just had to randomly order one, I'd order the light one. However, yes, you're exactly right. That's another thing I was going to go into is if I looked on Wildwood's site and they had 3 of these 58 Les Pauls I was looking at, I'd call Wildwood up and I would look to see what their weights are, just like I'm looking at what the specs are on the guitar. Mm-hmm. But I don't treat that any different than, a wood or a type of pickup or anything. And I'd say, hey, which guitar sounds the best. Somebody check it out and let me know what you think of each guitar and kind of what's different about them. If they said, oh, this one I think sounds the best because this, and this, and it's the middleweight or the heavy one, I'd be like, cool, let's do that one.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't, like you said, 12 pounds.
Yeah, as long as it's not a boat anchor, who cares? Yeah. I think we need to dispel the whole guitar weight thing because, and we're not manufacturers. We don't own a shop, right? So we get no benefit out of people buying heavier guitars. We don't really care. It's just
we don't own a bunch of Norland Gibsons.
No, we're not. We're not trying to sell anything. So I just don't think it matters as much as people think it does.
No, I think it's totally guitar dependent. We've talked many times. It's an ecosystem, and if one little thing's off on it, it might turn the guitar sour. So maybe it's not the weight of the guitar that is causing you to not like it. Maybe it's the fact of the other parts of it. So let's go ahead and move to my gas or pass.
Okay.
So my gas or pass today is talking about the Chris Stapleton Fender Signature Princeton. It's the Brown Princeton. It's the 63.
Yeah, man, that thing's pricey.
It is pricey. It's a 1x12. It is $2,600.
And guess what? No reverb.
There's no reverb. There's tremolo in it. It has a volume, a tone, and then it's got like a speed and intensity for tremolo.
Right.
Only 4 knobs.
It is cool.
That is a man after my own heart with only 4 knobs on the amp.
Yeah.
I like that. But used, you can find them for like $1,800 to $2,000 pretty comfortably all day. So pretty good used prices.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on this amp?
I've never played one to know. I have never played one to know. My thing is with a Princeton, maybe I'm a weirdo because everyone makes limited runs with a 12-inch speaker, and this one has a 12-inch. I'd love a 10-inch in a Princeton.
Yeah, but it's a brown face. It's completely different bag in a brown face, I feel like.
See, my thing is I need to play a brown face Princeton. I've never played one to know. I think it's you know what? That is something we need to discuss is tweed, black face, brown face, blonde, silver face. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, and delineate the differences. That's a good idea.
We need to do that sometime. If that's something you're interested in, let us know.
Yeah.
But I haven't played a brown face amp to be able to compare it to anything.
Well, we've played some brown face amps. I know we played that Pro together. I've played a brown
Pro.
Yeah.
Well, I remember nothing about it, so that doesn't mean it's good.
I loved it. I actually really liked that amp a lot. The problem was the size of it. It was just gigantic.
Sure.
And then I've played a brown deluxe before. Fantastic. Talk about ZZ Top.
Yeah. Well, this Princeton is a 112, doesn't have reverb, and used 1800. I've already got a Princeton. I'm out.
Okay.
I'm out.
I was curious about your thoughts on this. I didn't know where you set with your brown face stuff, if you were really excited about it. Sounds like that you're open to it.
Yeah, I think I'm more interested in a blonde basement.
Okay, yeah.
Forget this.
To go with your blackface basement. You're just going to have a stack of basement.
Hey, basements are fantastic. Don't knock them.
I'm not knocking them. They are great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think this one here for me is probably going to be a pass. If I found one for $1,500, I'd be pretty interested in it. But once you start getting close to that $2,000 mark, it kind of puts me out of the running for this small Princeton. It's just, I don't know. It's not quite my cup of tea. Quite my cup of tea. If I was going to go brown face, I'd go a little bit bigger. I'd go with the deluxe or something.
Right.
But I think that's the difference in me and you sometimes is sometimes you like a little boxier, like mid-range push sound for some of your combos, like your tweed. And you like the 10-inch Princetons. Where I like the deluxes. And, I'm not a huge tweed guy.
You typically like full sounds.
Yeah.
That's why you got that nice Les Paul there. I like typically mid-range sounds, which is why I love SGs.
We are so similar on what tones we enjoy, but we're just like off just ever so slightly.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why you guys enjoyed the disagreement so much, is because we're just like slightly different.
Yeah, and I mean, no one's just like us, and I mean, I'm sure some people align more with you, some people with me, so it's good to have different opinions. Yeah. But I don't have any interest in this amp.
Figures it's worth a shot. You want to go ahead and move to your gas or pass?
Yeah. All right. So this is one you're going to laugh at. But I was looking online on a reverb. Okay. Ibanez made with Steve Vai the Jemini Distortion. and it looks fantastic. You better put some visuals up here.
I'll
Because
stick them up here. I
it
don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, you do. When you see it, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this." It's essentially a DS1 and a tube screamer and a pedal. They're running used for $350. Had I known at the time they would cost that much,
Yeah.
I'd bought 6 of them.
So he used to use a Keeley modded DS1. Is what he used to use.
Okay.
So he had a Keeley modded DS1 he used for years and years. And I don't remember him using a tube screamer. Maybe he did use some type of tube screamer variant, and I just don't remember it right now. But that's interesting.
It was like one of the first dual pedals.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a whole lot in the game back then.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a pass. That's
But when you see the visuals, you'll be like, I kind of want to buy it.
You know what? It might be a
When
guess.
you guys see it, or if you've already seen it,
They've seen it at this point.
yeah, it's pretty spectacular. It's almost like a rite of passage. You're not a guitar player unless you have this pedal.
It's almost like the Mojo.
We are not getting into that. That is over. That's in the past. Leave it alone.
Okay. Well, what you didn't know is I'm joking. So yeah, it's a pass for me. We do have a DS1 back here shoved somewhere, and then I'm not a big tube screamer guy on top of that.
Yeah.
So that would be a pass. But it's interesting that it's going for $350.
Man, I can't believe it.
You know, it's so weird the things that end up going up in value, because sometimes it makes sense because somebody famous played one or done whatever, and Steve Vai's famous.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of times about like his signature pedal going for a lot of money compared to what it sold for originally. It's kind of like Joe Satriani, like he had those Vox pedals. And I mean, I don't know what they're selling for right this moment, but I can't imagine they're selling for $350.
And I don't even remember what they started selling them out for, but I have a hard time believing they were selling them for $350 back then.
I mean, probably not
this
even
was,
$300.
I would think early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's when this pedal came out.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it like in a Guitar Player magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
Guitar World or something like that.
That's interesting. Yeah. Pass for me.
I think we got to buy one.
Oh my gosh.
I think just like no one's making colors like that on a pedal before, nowadays.
Okay.
It's unique.
Okay. We're buying it for the colors, folks.
I'm just kidding. I don't want one. I am just kidding. I would never play it.
Guess what he's getting from Pedalmas next year? Let's go ahead and move to my main topic. then.
Okay.
So this is actually brought to us by one of our viewers, Dan the Guitar Man. Shout out to Dan.
Yeah, shout out to Dan. You're great.
So he was commenting on one of our past videos, and he was talking about how guitars are being kind of treated like stocks these days. And here, just a little bit ago, we talked about the Norm's Rare Guitars documentary, and how people are buying them for investments, basically.
Yeah.
And how gross it kind of is that this stuff is getting stored away and we're never seeing it again. It wasn't that long ago Jeff Beck's guitar auction happened. His Oxblood Les Paul got sold and all that stuff. Today, people are looking at some of these guitars, even new guitars, as almost like stocks and like pedals too, like limited edition pedals. How frustrating is it? I mean, this is one of the Germanium Tumnus Deluxes that Wampler put out, and I was just fortunate enough to grab one before they sold out, but it was limited edition. I wanted the smaller one originally because I didn't want... We were just talking about how I didn't like knobs with that Chris Stapleton amp, and like I was excited about 4 knobs.
Yeah, and that's got more knobs than that amp would.
Yeah, and switches and the whole 9.
Yeah.
I wanted the small one, but it sold out so fast, and then they went for ridiculous money. But I did grab one of these. It's a great pedal. Do I wish I had the smaller version? Probably so. But it is what it is. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, folks. But, people are buying these pedals almost as stocks too, and just hoarding them back and then trying to resell them for a high price, or, just holding them for the time being, not using them. What's your thoughts on this? Because I don't know, as a guitar player that's out gigging all the time and wanting to use the equipment as it's intended, it's kind of hard to swallow.
So, yeah, no, this whole thing gets me fired up, and I'm trying to hold back my frustration.
Please don't.
I don't even know where to start, man. So people are literally just buying stuff. They don't play that much, and I'm trying not to get mad at you all who are just collectors and don't really play.
I don't think just collectors and non-players are listening.
And
to
I
our
say
stuff.
you all. I realize it's not people watching this channel.
Yeah.
So don't take offense to that.
I think our viewers are in with
They're
us.
the ones actually playing.
Yeah.
All right. But here's what I'm trying to say. It's so aggravating that you have people that buy things just because they know value's going up.
Yeah.
Like, you remember when JHS sold that Solo Boost?
Yeah.
It was like they sold it for $100, and people like the next day were putting it up for like $350.
Yeah.
The
price has kind of came down now, but I mean, even Josh is like, don't buy it for that price. Like, just buy a Katana Boost or buy a whatever Boost.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, this whole idea that they're only buying something because they know it'll go up it's really screwing the rest of us over.
Yeah.
That are trying to buy gear at a decent price. The Lucas Nelson Jr.
Yeah.
I would love to buy one.
Me too.
But people bought it because they knew what it was worth, and well, not even what it was worth. They knew that the prices would go up.
Knew what it was going to be worth, or they knew it was going to be worth more than what they paid for
The
it.
Lucas Nelson Jr., we have looked at those religiously and thought, whenever we find a good price one, that the price finally comes back to where it was, we're going to get one.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're like $1,000 over.
Yeah. If you're lucky, over what they originally sold for.
Yeah.
And they're a used guitar now. I get that there's like a certain amount of value to some of those things, and I get it because it's a limited edition. However, for us average guys, it's really hard to it's hard for me to mentally deal with that.
Yeah.
Then you've got the guys, if we start talking about technically, like Dan said, stocks, look at the guys that bought those Greenie Les Pauls for $70,000. Those guys will set those guitars back in a case, and they'll be a conversation piece in their study. Or not all of them. I realize some guys will be playing them and stuff, but I think that is going to be so rare on the majority of those that are sold.
Well, the problem is the people who are buying these items like stocks, they're making everything else go up. Everything. Because when you buy it for a price, I sold it. You can even see it on Reverb. What was the last sold for? Oh, well, it's worth this money. I'm asking this.
Yeah.
It really screws up the entire market.
Yeah, I mean, even little things that weren't very expensive.
If groceries are $100 when I go to the store for like 1 or 2 bags, I don't want my guitar cables to be $80. Are you kidding me? No, for real. 25-foot cables for a decent cable is like $70, $60, sometimes $80.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
That's for an average, like good cable, but
and
average.
I know wire's gone up. All right, I'm not saying that, and that probably doesn't have to do with a whole lot of people, stocking them and making the stocks go up or whatever. But man, I'm tired of everything going up because we got people that are hoarding things essentially.
Yeah, I mean, and then like the whole vintage market is kind of, some of that is players really playing it. We've got guys like Tom Bukovac, and we've got guys that are like recording guys that are really using this stuff. And that they are even like surprised, like, man, this stuff went up so much. Like, I knew it was worth money, but, if they wouldn't have got into it early, they could never be at the position they were at.
Yeah.
Those guys are only there because they work their butts off working on moving up to nice vintage equipment. And then it happened to be before all this stuff got really wild. Today, like if you go out looking even for like a melody maker, melody makers used to be $5, $6. I mean, we can talk about what the prices used to be, but not that long ago, they were sub $1,000 all day long for vintage, pre-65 melody makers. And good luck finding one now for under $1,000 or even $2,000 sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's just, juniors went through the roof, and
that's what I was about to say. Like, you used to find them for around $750 all day.
And I don't think it's just because the economy has brought the cost of everything up. I think a lot of it comes down to like what Dan was saying is, people are grabbing these like stocks, holding on to them, and then trying to offload them for more money later on, or just holding on to them until the value hits a certain point and then dropping them off. Mm-hmm. If they were treated more like the commodities that they are meant to be, and just as tools and hammers and screwdrivers, we wouldn't have this same look on them,
I don't know. I'm just getting fed up with, maybe it's just because I mean,
You're getting old.
no, everything's going up, and I'm tired of it. And I guess it'll never go back down, obviously, but it's just aggravating because this type of stuff is what makes it even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. No, these people that are doing this, buying it for stock reasons or buying it to buy a limited edition something just to offload it real quick and make double profit on it, it's hurting it for everybody else.
And, like, granted, we have a limited edition pedal, but we're using it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not selling it. If I decide to get rid of it, which the likelihood of me getting rid of it is pretty low, because there's certain things I buy to try out that I'm like, well, I'll give it a shot, and if I don't like it, I'll just dump it. I knew I was gonna like the Tumnus germanium that Wampler makes. I love your Tumnus. I just knew it was gonna be a little bit closer. I was interested in looking at a regular Tumnus when the germanium ones come out.
Yeah.
And that's what made me jump on it. So, like, we weren't looking to turn it, you know? And
It's like, look at the King of Tone.
right.
People turn those for crazy money.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a shame. It's a great pedal. King of Tone's a great pedal.
It's worth the wait list. Is it worth $1,200 used right now?
No. No.
With all the different options that are out there. I
Mike
don't know.
himself, the owner of Analog Man, the builder of all these, will tell you it's not worth $1,200. He will tell you to go pick up the MXR.
Yeah, the Prince of Tone.
Prince of Tone.
Or Duke of Tone, sorry.
Duke of Tone. Or to get two Prince of Tones and stack them next to each other. Those are out and available. If you're just looking to get one because you need it right now, it's not worth it. Go do something like that and put yourself on the wait list and eventually get one. But let me tell you, it is a unbelievably great pedal.
It's a great pedal.
That we set on the wait list for a long time to get a hold of ours. We both have one.
Yeah.
And it's because we set on the wait list, excited to get one before all the Duke of Tone came out. And, you know, if I was to offload this, which I don't think I ever will because I love it and use it all the time, I wouldn't go ask $1,500, $1,200 for it. You know what I mean?
That's nuts to me.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'd probably try to honestly find a friend that I know that really is interested in one, because we've got enough guitar playing friends around us that I could offload it to him for the same money I paid for it, because I don't care. Like that's silly.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, some of the vintage guitar guys are like that still to this day. I think Tom and some of those guys, if they bought a guitar for X amount of dollars, they'll say, hey, I've got, you know,
I put this much into it.
I put this much into it. Give me an extra $1,000 on top of that, and we'll call it good.
Yeah.
That is so admirable to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's the difference in a player using it as a tool and someone using it as a stock.
Yeah. It's super aggravating. I don't know. I know the majority of the guitar playing community is against it, but it's just hard to combat it when you got like maybe 20% out there that do this.
It's kind of like the bots for tickets these days too.
Oh,
don't get me started on that.
That's a whole nother thing.
But it's a shame. If you guys are out there and you're buying some of this gear, I think our audience is pretty good. They're players that are trying to get out and get playing. But just try to be courteous with that type of stuff. Yeah, it's always tempting to pick up some limited edition thing just because you know, like, well, it might be worth more money one day. But I would rather not do that and buy something that I'm truly interested in, that I'm going to use as a tool for years to come.
Yeah. And we're not trying to keep you from buying things. That's not it. And honestly, I do want to end this on a good note. Like, the majority of the community, and definitely the people who watch this channel, like, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
So we just want to see prices be
normalized.
As average as we can, right? We want to get stuff out of our equipment. We don't want it to go the other way completely.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. We want fair prices, I guess. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We just don't want people hoarding things away, using them as stocks.
Yeah.
And we know most of you guys aren't doing that, but it's just kind of a conversation. When Dan commented on that, I was like, you know, we need to talk about that, because it is something that makes you feel gross. Yeah. But man, when you have somebody like a good tone bro that you can hang out with and maybe swap equipment to, that like is telling you, hey, I only paid this for it. If you give me this, you know, an extra $100 or whatever, we'll swap out for that.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a complete game changer.
Yeah. It's hard to find people like that, though. So
it's definitely doable, and hopefully we can kind of build some of that here.
Yeah, that's true.
So comment down below with any of your thoughts on the episode. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.